Good morning, dear Stitchers. This is Judy Whitman with JBW Designs, and I want to welcome you back to my Flosstube channel. This is episode number 102, and if you happened on this channel by chance, it is about cross stitch. It is January 29th, 2026, and I am looking out both of my windows that I can see from here at snow-covered trees and very cold temperatures. And like many of you, because I live in southwest corner of Michigan, it has been so cold this January. I mean, it's really been hard, and I know I'm not alone. There are a lot of people in the same boat. So thank you for coming back to watch. I have to tell you, I wish I had a camera here. No, I don't. To record all of the shenanigans I went through to get this Flosstube started today. So oftentimes, as you know, I record on my desktop computer, and so I often move it around to different areas in my office. And so I needed my largest table here, my work table, so that I could spread out lots of models and things to show you. And so I started pulling the computer, and don't ask me what I did, but I couldn't get it to come back on again. And if you could witness this, I'm under the desk. The spaces where everything is plugged in is very small. The desk is very high, right here next to me. I am under there, fiddling with the plugs, trying to get it right again, and it really was a spectacle. It took me quite a while to get things back on, but I finally figured it out, and it wasn't as hard as I thought, but I couldn't figure out what in the heck I had done. So let's get started today, and I have stories to tell you, of course, and things to show you. First of all, I always want to thank you for your comments, for your emails and letters, etc. I read every one of them. I try to respond to all the comments because I'm so appreciative of the fact that you took the time to watch and that you took the time to write. So thank you. You know how much your friendship means to me. So someone yesterday sent me a funny little quote, a little Snoopy quote that she had found, and she said, "I think you're going to like this." This is from Peggy. Having received my free sample of winter, I would like to cancel the remainder of my subscription. Thank you. You can see it right here. So I think we all feel that way. As someone pointed out to me yesterday, we live in Michigan. We should be used to this by now, but there are days when we're not. So I do have one follow-up to the last video. I try to think about what I forgot, which often happens. So I had shown you a model of a little snowman. That was the theme last month, and I could not remember which booklet it came from. So I promised you I would figure that out, and it wasn't that hard. It was actually the Alphabet Snowman is in a winter collection booklet, and that includes the 3 hats, this little ice skate, and then a third snowman that is just made up of winter motifs. So that's the answer to that question, in case you were wondering. Let's see, let me keep moving here. The first topic I always like to cover is viewer finishes, and we had some wonderful ones this past month. I just love seeing what you've done. So I talked last month about blessing samplers, and I have something to share with you that I have finished, but it truly wasn't just a month-long project. It was probably, I didn't write down when I started it. It was probably almost a year and a half, but I'll show that to you. That's going to be my blessing for this month, that I finished it. So the first design I have to show to you, or share with you, is from Sampler Threads, who is on Instagram, and she said this was her blessing sampler. This was started with my stitching group of friends. Mine is stitched with the called for threads, Weeks Romance, and a DMC on Zweigart Vintage Smoky White. she said, I hope to stitch a few more pink pieces this year. Stay tuned. So this is what she did. I love how it's turning out. I was so honored that it was her blessing sampler. And of course, you've seen this book before, but this is, in case you're new to the channel, this is what the booklet looks like. And then we had another viewer work the same sampler, and this was also her blessing sampler. And her Instagram account is called Handmade at number 12. And I believe that she is in England. I'll have to look that up. Anyhow, she might be in New Zealand. I take that back, because she stitched this one with a House of Embroidery ocean thread, and then she said New Zealand. So I'm guessing. If you watch this channel, let me know. And her fabric, interestingly enough, was also vintage smoky white. So I'm going to have to look for that. I don't have that in my stash, but I love the way that turned out. And so the next one is kind of an interesting one. This is from Carolina Cajun Creates, and I want to read to you what she talked about. She said, I've been looking for months for a circular Mardi Gras design to stitch for the window on the pantry door. I scoured Etsy many times, but couldn't find anything that was both the right size and shape. I was resigned to hoping I could find a mask in my Mardi Gras decorations. Well, I continued to search for the right design. Well, this is what she ended up doing. She took my Seaside series, and you can see she finished it as a round in a multi-varied colored thread. And it was interesting because this is what the booklet looks like. It has not only a lobster in it, but a turtle. But she did make the comment that she said this looked more like a crab. So perhaps my Seaside knowledge is a little lacking, but I thought what she did turned out beautifully. It looks like she might have mounted it in a wreath and finished it with twisted cords. So thank you for showing me that. And then this one was also a blessing sampler from Lisa, and it's her word for the year, which is grace. And she stitched this over one on a 28 count, and I've forgotten, I don't think she told me what colors. That doesn't matter, but I was just so tickled that that was something that spoke to her. And the grace booklet looks like this. And that came out not too long ago, about 6 years ago. Then the next one that I wanted to show you, I talked about it, I can't remember if I showed it last month or not, so if I did, I apologize for repeating myself. And I also did not write down who sent this to me. But this gal did Eliza's French Birds, and what I liked about her finish is that she found this beautiful old frame, and you can see if I move this close up that there is a really pretty printed fabric that is in place of a mat around the design. So I was just very impressed with how lovely that looks. So the fabric is behind the design, and she didn't hem stitch it. It's very hard to see, but she actually fringed it. So she's got about a ½ inch of fringe on all the edges. And I thought that was a very good idea of how to mount a flat piece in a frame without doing the stretching of it. So, of course, this is Eliza's French Birds. And then the last picture I have to share with you is from Renee, and she did the Bristol Stocking, and she said she just loves stitching white on red. She finished it herself with twisted cording. She's got a little bell and ribbon on it, and I know Christmas has passed, but I just wanted to share this with you. So this is her, this is the design, the book that the design comes from. So that's Bristol Stocking. So thank you, ladies. That was so much fun to see all the things that you've done. So now I think it's time to show you what I have been working on. So I really like the Quaker samplers, and I'd seen a lot of posts. I'm going to grab this right here. of people working this design, and I thought it was just stunning. The original, I'm going to show you the front of the booklet. It's called the Anne Grimshaw 1818 Ackworth Quaker School Sampler. And so it's going to be hard to see the whole thing, how big it is. I've seen it on the cover. It's worked in black. I've seen it worked in red. I decided that I wanted to stitch it. Let me see if I can hold this up again. In blues. So I actually chose three shades of DMC and one of Classic Colorworks Old Blue Jeans. That's the dark one. And as I went, I just chose colors. It was kind of hit or miss, but I like how it looks. One of the things that happens, I'm going to put this down here, it's probably funny, I kind of hid my own face here. One of the things that occurs in this sampler that is so interesting is that there are initials that are scattered through the whole sampler. And I forgot to reread the description of it again, but it's probably family members. That's most likely. So I chose to do the same thing. So I started out with, I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'll show you. I just started up here in the upper left-hand corner. I did Judy and my husband, his name is Richard, and then I did all of our children's first initials, their partner's first initials. I did our grandchildren and our great-granddaughter. And if you look at the top part of it, they're just scattered in among those Quaker motifs above the lettering. I have a confession to make. So I stitched this on a 40 count linen. It's a Zweigert base, but I forgot to write down which company it was from. And I measured so carefully, and I looked at the measurements that they gave for the design on 40 count. But let me show you the bottom of this. I got down towards the end, and I had enough room, but it was getting so close. And I actually stitched this not in hand, but using Q-snaps. And I'm very careful that the Q-snaps never go directly on my stitching, but in order to keep using the Q-snaps down at the bottom of this piece, I just added another piece of linen, and that gave me enough to finish it. So I will probably have this framed, but I'm very glad to have it done. I don't often stitch for myself, so now I have to think about what will I stitch next when I have time. Let's see, I discussed last time in my video a new idea that I had about inviting cross-stitchers to come, a very small group, probably 4, to come to my house and for a couple hours, probably 4 hours or so, and we'd come up to my studio. I would buy lunches for us all. We'd chat and stitch and just have a good time getting to know each other. And a lot of people really liked that idea. Some people, of course, live in California, and that's not an option. I did get a note, and I got such a kick out of this, from one gal in Tennessee, and I said, she wanted to come, and I said, oh my gosh, that's so far. Oh, she said, I drive all the time to Delaware. This is not a problem. I listen to books on tape. So I give her a lot of credit. So I actually only have 4 names at this point of people who live close enough that they felt like they could travel here. So if you contacted me and I don't read your name, please email me. That's the best way to reach me, judy@jbwdesigns.com, and I want to make sure I add your name to the list. So at this point I have Linda P, Ann M, Linda C, and Heidi. So please let me know if I missed anyone. There are a couple things I want you to know about being here that are important, because my studio is on the 2nd floor of our house, and so you would have to be able to navigate a set of stairs. I will wait till nice weather, because if we live on top of a hill and our driveway is very windy, if you tried to come here today, a lot of you couldn't even make it up the hill. I mean, it is very challenging, and we keep getting it plowed. So we'll wait until like May. That's when I'm thinking I'll start, when the weather is nice. And the other factor is that up at the top of our driveway by the garage, parking is very limited. Because we're on a hill, there's not a lot of room to maneuver cars, so we can get maybe 2 or 3 cars at the top, but one car would probably have to park a little ways down the hill and walk back up. So I thought I should let you know about some of the things that you might have to deal with. If we decide to go ahead and do this, I'm going to email you a short question and answer form, and I'm going to ask you for your contact information. Of course, I'm going to ask you if you have any dietary restrictions for the lunches I order. There will be a small fee, and that's just to cover the lunch. And then I'll also have a few other brief questions for you. And you're welcome to come with a friend. You don't have to come by yourself, but cross-stitchers are all very friendly, so I know that we would have a good time. So think about that. Just let me know what your thoughts are, if you'd like to come, and we'll add you to the list, and then we'll kind of draw out of the hat for the first group. The thing that I wanted to start next is, I thought it might be fun for me. A lot of people do like whip parades of things they finished in this last year, and so my coming at a parade like this of designs is a little different than most people, because these are pieces that I've designed as part of the business. So I thought you might get it. I actually got quite a kick out of pulling. I wasn't able to find all the models. Some are at a trunk show, but I thought you might get a kick out of seeing all of the designs that came out last year. And so this is my parade of finished designs. So I only released twice last year. I released for the national market in March, and then I released in August for the Needlework Marketplace. And for the Nashville show, I was surprised actually at how many things I actually had. So I'm going to just show you, a quick review. What did I design? What came out in this past year? So the first thing I'll show you is the Georgian floral basket. This was probably the most popular design in Nashville last year. I have had so many people send me pictures of it. I have another model of it that's framed that I like equally as well. This was finished just beautifully by one of my finishers. So Georgian flower basket was based on an antique piece that I purchased, and this is what the cover of that booklet looks like. The next design that I want to show you is called With Gratitude, and that was my theme last year for my quotations that I always have at the end of the video. So this is the With Gratitude design, and it reads, "Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul." And I love the colors in this, and I also love the frame. This is from L&M Framing in Ohio, and Lisa does a beautiful job. She's working on a couple new ones for me right now. And this has happened before with, not very often, but sometimes it's very hard to photograph a design so that it looks true to the fabric color you chose and the fibers you chose. And in this case, I've never felt that the photo on the front here represents the design itself. So I'm going to hold this up again. So this is With Gratitude, and this is the cover of the booklet. And I just don't think that it sets it off like I wish it did. Sometimes it's hard, as I say, to get, we know this because sometimes we'll buy booklets and we'll look at the cover and then we pull the colors and we think this doesn't even look like the same piece. So I will tell you that that part of the designing process is very challenging. The next designs that I want to show you are from a booklet that I entitled French Baby Samplers. and I think there are 8 designs in here. I've forgotten how many. Anyhow, they're all intended to be samplers that you could use for a baby's room, for a shower gift, for a pillow. I'm going to show you a couple of finishes. I have quite a few finishes here. The elephant is just finished as a hanging piece. This one is the hobby horse. And what I pictured with each one of these is that you would put the child's name and the birth date. You could make it longer and add, you know, where they're from. You could add the last name. You could add the weight, etc. But I love this one. I worked in pink, of course, for girls. I love the finish on this. My finisher chose the most beautiful trim. And then I'll show you just one other from that booklet that my finisher Karen did for me. This is the French Country teddy bear. And she finished this one on a wooden hornbook with a beautiful fabric behind it and cording around the edge. So that's just 2 of the designs that appeared in the French baby sampler booklet. All right. Now, getting things out of the way is always the problem where to put them. The next design that I want to show you is called Lucia's Sewing Smalls. And this, let's see, I have to kind of gather everything here because this one little piece is untied, so I'll tie it up for you. First of all, this is what the booklet looks like. And it actually consists of 4 different small pieces. Let's see if I can show you. So this shows the little scissor pocket and the fob on the front, and then I'll show you the other little models that are in this booklet, and they are pictured. Let's see, it's hard to show you because there we go, without showing charts. There you can see that the pictures of the other items that are in this booklet are shown on the inside of the booklet. So this is what the little scissor pocket looks like. I don't think it would be too hard to construct because it's basically just a flat piece on the back and then a rounded piece on the front, and you would sew those together. Of course, there's a lining on that first backing piece on both sides, and there's also and then you'd cover your second piece, your little piece down here at the bottom, with your stitched on linen, and then it was just trimmed with twisted cording. And here's the little fob that goes with that design, and again on the back it's just finished with a really pretty fabric that I had in my stash. So that's 2 of the designs from Lucia's Sewing Smalls. And then this is one of my favorites. My finisher finished this into a drum, and incidentally the finisher was Michelle with It's Finally Finished. She does fabulous work, and I will try to list her in my notes below. I just love how she finished that. It's just stunning. So the design is on the top of the drum. I like that it's a little drum. It's different from others. And then the third thing she finished for me is so sweet. It's a little needle case. And so if I hold it up like this, you can see what the design looks like. And it ties with just twisted cording. And then on the inside, there's a piece of felt for you to store your needles. So it just makes such a nice little set of finishing accessories. So that is, let's see, we've done 4 of them. As I say, I had quite a few. Incidentally, I hope you're stitching and just getting lots done while you're listening to this. So I have many pieces here. So the next thing I'd like to show you that came out in Nashville was one of my letter designs, and this was called the Petite Lettres. And it looked like this. Actually, the cover picture on this one is quite accurate. And this is what a model looks like. And again, this was framed by L&M Framing in Ohio. I'm going to write myself a note here. I always like to remind myself what has to go in the notes below. You know that if you look at the description of the video and look at the word more and then click on that, that will go to, I write after the video is recorded, a very long list of sources, of, let's see, I have to write this one down too, of all of the titles that I've shown, etc., so that you can look back if you're looking for information that you missed on while I was recording the video. So this is Petite Lettres, and that is what this design looks like. All right, this one was such an interesting one. So I can't remember, it might have been spring of last year, I've forgotten, it doesn't matter. A friend that watches my videos who lives in Grand Rapids, Gail, called to tell me that there was an estate sale in Grand Rapids, which is about an hour north of us. And actually, I don't go to estate sales. I probably should. It was fascinating. The thing that was so, I'm going to put this down because my light is glaring on it. The thing that was so interesting about this estate sale, and she knew the couple, it was a doctor and his wife who traveled to England every year to buy antiques. And the pieces, by the time I got into the house, a lot of the things had been sold, paintings and rugs and other samplers, but it was fascinating and also quite sad, because I thought, oh, this is a lifetime of joy that this couple had together, and you know, I guess we all know that it can't last forever. But so a lot of people were there taking home treasures, and I just found one tiny little treasure, and that was this tiny little sampler. And it was, what I loved about it, not only the size of it, it's stitched over one on a very small count, but she not only has her alphabets, but she has the school where she stitched her piece. So it's, let's see if Farringdon Subscription School, 1822, and this was stitched by Hannah Adams. In fact, I think someone did this as their blessing sampler, and I forgot to print out that information. So this is what the booklet looks like. And I stitched it again. I stitched it over one, but mine is on a much, probably on a 25 count fabric. And this is what it looks like on another piece. So if you're looking to do a small red sampler, this would be a perfect sample to work, because it wouldn't take that long to do. All right, there are a few more models that I released in Nashville that I do not have there are a few more designs I released in Nashville, but the models are out at a trunk show. So I'll just show you the booklets. So one of them was around bees. That was so much fun to design. Just, you know, I love making my lists of what goes in the round designs. And this has butterflies and flowers and a beehive and a bee scap. It was really fun to do. And bees, of course. And then another design that I don't have the model to show you was Do All Things with Kindness. And I just saw a picture of somebody working on this one too. The finish on this is just gorgeous. This was also finished by Michelle at My Finishing Touch. She did ruched ribbon, and you can see the little pink ribbons, buttons at the bottom of it. So it just gives you finishing ideas, which we love to see. Then the last thing that was released was a limited edition kit, and actually I have more of these still in stock. So if it's something you're interested in, I'd be glad to send it to you, and I'll email me and I'll tell you the price, etc. This was called the Sweet Songbird Kit, and I wish I had the model to show you. It's really cute in person. You can see it up here on the tag. It includes everything you need to make this. So I don't know if you can see, it includes the wooden disc, the DMC to make the cording, it includes the linen, it includes the comic board to mount it, and complete finishing instructions. So those were all the things that came out in Nashville. I surprised myself by looking over all of them and thinking, wow, how did I do that? I don't know. We just keep, probably like most designers, I mean, I finish one thing and I move on to the next. So, and sometimes things take longer than others to complete. So now the next set of designs that I want to share with you for my finishing parade are those designs which I released in August at Needlework Marketplace. And of course, when the August show takes place, you're always thinking about fall and Christmas. At least that's how my mind works. So I didn't nearly have as many designs at that show. I did one called Christmas Tree Bauble, and it too is mounted on one of the wooden discs that I carry. My finisher Karen did such a great job of mounting it and patting it and finishing it with cording. She uses a little pearl at the top and then twisted cord for the hanger. So that was Christmas Tree Bauble. And then in that same vein, I did another one that I called Reindeer Bauble. And if you can see, if I hold it close up, there are beads that are used in the background to simulate snow. And this is mounted exactly the same as the first one I showed you. And this is what the booklet looks like. So I don't know if more baubles are coming. We shall see. I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm just finishing up my Nashville design, so I haven't thought that far ahead. So another one that was very popular, there are probably two in this. No, I can think of another one. There are two or three that tied at the top for popularity. One was the Merry Christmas design. And I finished this on a board from Chantelle's 141. And I should have brought the model in here. I thought, oh, it's not Christmas, but it is mounted on the back of a tray. So if you can picture a wooden piece at the back and a little box that attaches to that backing piece, I mounted my Merry Christmas on the back, and then let's see if I have a picture of it finished. I don't think I do. And what I did is I placed all kinds of little bits of greenery and tiny ornaments in that tray below this design. And this has also been finished, I can show you this one, as a pillow, which would be Darling in a dough bowl. So that one turned out very well. Another one that I designed for last fall was the Autumn Harvest, and this was very popular also. This also is finished on a finishing board from Chantelle's 141. She has a company. She lives here in Michigan. She designs wonderful finishing products. So I'd encourage you to go onto her website and check it out. See if you see something that you could use with one of your designs. And she does a lot of designing with Kathy Haberman and Brenda Gervais, and I think her work is amazing. So this one, this model, you can see is mounted on a board that has a nice little stand on the back of it. Someone did this and finished it this fall and did ribbon through all of the holes, which would be it was just adorable. I finished this and just mounted it on a piece of fabric and put rickrack behind the board and then just added a ribbon and a charm to the top. So it wasn't hard to finish at all. And then I just glued that to the painted pieces. Incidentally, all of her pieces arrive unpainted, so you can paint them any color you want. And there was a second model of this one. So this is what the booklet looks like. That's Autumn Harvest. And then I also finished it, I can show you this. So this one that I showed to you is stitched over 2 on a 36 count fabric. And the other model that I did, I stitched over 1, and I just finished it as a hanging piece. And let's see, I used Edinburgh cream for the over 2 model, and I used a 25 Lugana in cream for the over 1 model. And then the last thing that I designed, and I think probably why I didn't have as many, is that I did another Christmas ornament booklet. So Christmas ornament Christmas Ornament 6 just came out, and it takes a long time to get all of these designs stitched, finished, photographed, charted, etc. So this is quite a big project for not only myself, but also for my graphic designer who does the layout of the booklet. What I love about these booklets, and I can show you if I cover it, is that there is one design on each page. And so you can see all of the color code down here. There's a picture of each one on the front. So each ornament, there are 20 ornaments in the booklet, and each ornament there's a code so you can find where to find it. So I just pulled 5 of the little ones out for you to see. I did this was a new design. It was a little chalet mounted on a tiny tin box, which I thought was so sweet. I also did, I'm going to show you some that are heart-shaped. You can think about Valentine's Day here. This was just a little village. These are all stitched on a 25 count over 1. I did a little heart that looks like holly. Again, that's just mounted on a pretty fabric with twisted cording around the edges. This was another one. This was a new design. It was a church and a bell. And I carry these little wooden tags, so my finisher just mounted it on the tag here. I hope you didn't hear that. That was my stomach growling. It must be getting close to lunch. And then this is the last one I'm going to show you from that booklet. And this was a little mitten, again mounted on a little horn book. So those are just 5 of the 20 that were in Christmas Ornament 6. So that was the year. It was fun to look over, fun for me to review. And now I'm moving on to the next year. I'm not going to show you the new ones for Nashville yet. I will do that in my next video, I promise. So my next topic is going to be, where did I put these? Here it is. All right, let me move some things away to make room for this pile here. So the last topic for today is actually going to be Valentine's Day. And again, I don't have all of my models here, but I have enough that I can show you a variety of finishing ideas, and that's really my main goal, is for you to be inspired by what I share with you, that you can use those finishing ideas on your projects. So was it last year or the year before? No, it was in 2024. I released a booklet called My Heart to You is Given. And this was another spiral bound. I think, does it tell me? I'm trying to look at how many designs are in this booklet. Actually, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'll show you some of the models. There are quite a few. And so let me show you a couple models that are in that booklet. Here's one of them. It's a little dove design, finished as a heart. It would make a darling little Valentine decoration. It wouldn't take very long to do. This design is not in any other booklet because this was unique to that booklet that I just shared with you. This design is actually part of, no, I take that back. This one is new also. It is a French country heart. I had to think a minute. It is worked under, you can see, on a 28 count fabric in a beautiful red fiber. You can see what that looks like, and again, that would be easy to do. Another design that is in that booklet is actually in a separate booklet, and it was released a while ago. It's called With Love, and it's just a heart made up of roses. And the booklet for that looks like this. Whoops, let me show you here without putting my fingers over the title. So these are just some ideas for if you have a yen to stitch for Valentine's Day. And some of these are fairly quick and small. So this is another one that's in that booklet. And this design is actually a variation of another booklet that I have. And I'll show you that design in a minute. But I love the border on this, and then it just has a little heart with doves and a bow in the center of it. And this was just finished by one of my professional finishers with velvet ribbon and pearl beads along the side. Isn't that adorable? Really, it's the finishing that makes the project look adorable. So the next design I'm going to show you is called French Country Love. And the cover of the booklet, the reason I'm hesitating is I'm going to show you, I think, two or three different models of this one. So how you can take part of a design and just stitch part of it. So the original design looked like this. So this was the original design in that booklet. So it was stitched this border right here, and then the little heart in the center, which has the word love written all through here. Then I took that design, and instead of stitching it in the two colors that you see here, I stitched it in one color over one, and I had my framer mount it as a small piece in the center with a huge mat around it. For some reason, I love this finish. I just think it sets off the whole design. It makes a small design look quite amazing. I do have this hanging in my office. I've forgotten which wall I took it off of. And then the last thing I want to show you is I also finished it. See if we can avoid the glare here. Just as a small again, and mounted it in a glass paperweight. And I showed you a glass paperweight in another segment quite a while ago. So this, what is in this design, is just the center of this one. So it's a way to take a design, and if you don't have time to stitch the whole piece, you can stitch just a part of it. So I have two more that fall into my Valentine category. One is called Love, and it is just a beautiful font with a border around it. And I have done two models of that. This is the over one model, and it was mounted on, I mounted this on just a board, a comic board, lined the back of it and the front of it, then mounted the design itself on another piece of comic board and trimmed it with a pom-pom trim from Lady Dot Creates. So this was stitched over one, and there is an over two model. Here we go. Here's the over two model right on the cover. So if you look at this, you can see that the over two model is mounted on a separate fabric, a print fabric. And then there is a second fabric used behind the design itself. So it's possible to do several layers of fabrics and designs and still make it look interesting. All right. The last one that I want to show you is called Love in the Round. And again, the model has disappeared. I'm hoping it's in my trunk show. And this is just all symbols of love. And you could finish it on a box. You could finish it as a little small. Let's see if I have any other pictures of this one. Oh, I know what I did. I can show you this. I actually finished it as a top for a glass jar. And I think I just bought the glass jars at Hobby Lobby. I also finished it, and this I found at Valentine's Day last year. I haven't been there for a while, but they probably have them again. They have these large ceramic jars, and this one has hearts embedded in it. So I did a lid for that one also for the over two design. So those are a couple more finishing ideas for you. So how are we doing? We're moving right along. So the next thing that I want to talk to you about is the prize winners from the last video. And I've had two fairly large giveaways in the last two videos. One was to mark the occasion of my 100th video, and then last time I was celebrating my 7,000 subscribers. So I'm going to announce first the winners from the last video, and I'm going to tell you their names, and I will announce what they won. And then in that other video number 100, 6 people contacted me to get their prizes, but I still have 4 people who didn't hear their names announced. So I will read those again. I'll give them one more chance to get a prize, and if it doesn't happen, then we'll do another giveaway and choose more names. So here we go with last video prizes. So the first one, number 1, goes to Jenny Dawn, Jenni, and she won the Eliza French Birds booklet. The next prize, let me make sure I've got the right numbers. Yeah, this one, the kit that I talked about earlier, goes to Kathy, Kathi Kolodowski, Kolodowski. So congratulations, Kathy. The third book goes to, whoops, let me pick this up. This goes to a gal that actually I've been corresponding with in the past. She stitched some models for me, and it's Stitch Faster. So be sure and just email me with your name, your address, and etc. So that was number 3. Number 4 is the one I talked about today, Karen Hobbs, Hobbs. You won the Heart booklet. And all of these were chosen by random number generators. So not everyone liked all 10 of the designs. So they would put like 2, 3, 8, 9. And so it picks out a number that I'm looking for, and that's how the names are chosen. The number 5 winner is Dr. Jackie, Jackie Keis, and that is for When Cardinals Appear. The number 6 winner is Christy, Christy, and her last name I think is Keis, and she won the collection of petite samplers. I think I showed some of these in the last video. Let's see, number 8. Oh no, let me see. No, I'm off track. Number 7 is it is the Bluebird of Happiness sampler, and it has been won by Susan, and this was her comment name, NOTT1264. So Susan, be sure to contact me. I hope all these people hear your name. The 8th one was won by Karen Amrein. I'm pronouncing that wrong. Amrein, and this was a collection of designs that I did a long time ago. It's called A Few Favorites. Number 9 was Carol Wilhelm, and she won the anniversary collection, which also was a very old booklet. And then my last winner is Linda Swick, Swick, and she won the Sweet Nothings for Baby booklet. So I'm so hoping that you all heard your names called, and just write me a letter and I will mail everything out. I'm just so happy to have so many viewers and have made it this far with so many videos, especially when I run into all these issues, right? So I promised you a couple of other things. I need to tell you the 4 names that I'm still looking for from video 100. And those names are, let's see, no, they're on this list. So, Janelle A. Wrench, Wrench, and Kathy Collins, you won a prize that day. The Advent Calendar. Phyllis Hawes won the Antique Vase Sampler, and Sheila by RD88 won the Lena's kit. So I'm hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, that I can start giving away the rest of all these prizes. I am going to give away prizes. You know what? I didn't prep for this today. I'll do it in my next video. I promise I'll draw names from the comments and give away prizes for the next video because I'm not prepared for this one. Now, I have another couple other good topics to talk about, and then I will sign off. So I always like to do a shop of the month, and I forgot to do it last month. This one is a shop that I'm so grateful for. The one that I want to feature today is called the Cross Stitch Cupboard. It's owned by Karen and Kathy. They are in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm going to hold this up so you can take a screenshot to get all of the information. They have a fabulous shop. I was lucky enough a couple years ago when we were in Florida to go over there and visit with some of their customers. Their shop is lovely. It has a porch that wraps around. They often have events where they serve food on the porch. That day we could sit out under the trees. It's just a beautiful setting. So, and one of the things I want to mention is that Karen is a member of my Friends of JBW Designs Facebook page. And one thing she does, if you ever watch Karen, I'm so appreciative. Whenever I have new members join my page, she always comments and welcomes them to the page and says, if you need anything, contact the Cross Stitch Cupboard. So I'm going to say today, if you need anything, please contact her. They probably have it. If they don't, they will order it. So it's stitch1981@aol.com. So just send them a quick email or give them a call. So I'm so grateful for them. Now, let's see, where are the last of my notes? I have to keep checking on what's left. All right. So last time also, I forgot to do a new quotation. And so this year, last year my theme was kindness. This year it's going to be friendship. And so if you have a quote that you love about friendship, please send it to me, but I can find some too. This is the one I have for today. There is nothing on this earth more prized than true friendship. And I truly feel that way. I feel that way about all of you who have become my friends, even though we might not have met in person. I have wonderful friends here scattered all over, and I'm so grateful for them. And one of the things, I'm getting tearful, one of the things I'm trying to do this year is do a better job of contacting them and trying to help, because some of them have health issues or they're going through hard times, and I just think that's what friends do. We step in and we try to make a difference, right? So I have a quick life update. I can't remember if I told you about this last time. I probably did. But, you know, whenever our great-granddaughter comes here, I think I told you this story, we get such a kick out of her. She's 2 years old. Her name is Nevaeh. We call her Vea. And when she was here a couple weeks ago with her mom and my other granddaughters and my daughter-in-law, when she was up in my office, she took every single, I'll show you the picture, every single stool and chair, little tiny chair that I had, and she moved them all over the place. So one of my granddaughters got a picture of this. And so you can see she moved the stool. This little footstool is almost bigger than it is bigger than she is. And she moved the little chairs, and she would move pillows. And then she didn't stop there. Oh, here's a picture of her carrying that stool into the little nook there, and then she'd carry it to another closet, and she'd set them all up. It was so much fun. Oh, we get such a kick out of her. I have new models arriving from my finishers next week on 3 framed pieces. In a couple weeks, I have to have a procedure done on my face, which I've had done before, but I will come back, I promise you, because I have to show you what's new and what's coming. So if you want to contact me, it's judy@jbwdesigns.com. I'll write that below. I have an Instagram account. It's judy.whitman. The friends page that I mentioned, you just have to answer a question. And what happens on that friends page that I love is that people join our group, and then they post pictures of things that they finish, and they give us great ideas. So that's the purpose of the friends page. So thank you again for coming, for being such dear friends, and I hope to see you in just 2 or 3 weeks. Take care. Bye-bye.